What's up, everybody? Welcome back inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. It is 3 low-level on-3 staffers, a vast network of folks here trying to decode and decipher everything Ryan Day had to say from his press conference on Tuesday afternoon in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. The 40-year vet Tim May, he was there. Andy Backstrom, it's me, Spencer Holbrook. We're here to decode everything from the Ryan Day press conference, from the Jim Knowles press conference, which included a big fat no comment on the Michigan sign stealing scandal, or just sign stealing in general, or talking about mics in the helmets. Ryan Day wanted absolutely nothing to do with that. Neither did Jim Knowles. He was told by higher ups that he was not to speak about that. Let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way before I kick it to you, Tim, and to you, Andy. Dallin Hayden going to push to play this week. Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, and Denzel Burke to have a really good week of practice. Maybe they'll play on Saturday.
Travion Henderson, you left him out.
But what was your biggest takeaway from the WAC today, Tim?
The no comment.
Yeah.
Because that means that, why would they not comment unless they're being asked questions also, providing some kind of information for the investigation, such as it is, into Signalgate. The only question I would have for Jim Knowles in that regard is they've got this signal occasion they throw in there on the defensive side, which I've seen a few times, which is this, which looks like somebody shoveling sand. So I'd like to know what that means. Maybe we'll get to that when the comments flow again. But the bottom line is this is a more serious situation than most people are giving it credit for. Of course, Michigan apologists are going out of their way to say this is nothing, blah, blah, blah. Everybody does it, blah, blah, blah. Everybody doesn't do it, and when you get called on the carpet for it, which this is very rare for something to come the way it has, be made public in the middle of a season of this magnitude, a lot of people are upset about it, is what you know, meaning a lot of other programs are upset about it. So that was my take, number one. Number two, this is a team that definitely Ryan Day learned from whatever it was that went on with those last couple of Urban Meyer teams that had big slip-ups after big wins. And we'll see if, in fact, how that carries through again. But as we well know, Ryan Day has never, as a head coach, he's had two huge losses in the regular season. I'm talking about to Michigan.
Yeah.
But he's never had that huge slip-up loss to an unexpected foe. Ohio State's what, a 14-point favorite right now, and Ryan Day's going to work his magic again, or at least that's the intention. And it is at it is at Wisconsin, it is in Camp Randall, it is at night. It's against a former Ohio State defensive lineman of great repute and a head coach in Luke Fickell. The challenge is there, and I think everybody in this building either knows it or will definitely know it by the end of the week.
I don't know if Ryan Day will have 2 big losses at the end of the season, according to the NCAA, here in due time. Andy, what was your big takeaway from today?
I'm sure that'll make you feel a lot better.
What was your big takeaway, Andy?
As another housekeeping note, the quarterback situation. Devin Brown, this was actually said last night on the radio by Ryan Day, but Devin Brown will be out at least a couple weeks, 1 to 2, maybe more weeks. And so that puts Ohio State in an interesting situation now where Kyle McCord, of course, still the starter, but the backup is up in the air. Ryan Day didn't commit to saying that Tristan Gebbia would be the backup. We assume he would be, given the experience, and Ryan Day talked about how much more experience Tristan Gebbia has over Lincoln Kienholz, who's a true freshman, and came in late, didn't early enroll.
Yeah.
So that would be the assumption, but Ryan Day didn't say either way. They're both going to get reps in practice this week. As it had been, Devin Brown was taking most of the reps with the twos. And so it's going to be a little bit different for each of their roles for Tristan Gebbia and Lincoln Kienholz, who's really been the scout team quarterback. But Lincoln Kienholz is very athletic, and one thing that Ryan Day was talking about was, that package they have for Devin Brown, it could lend itself at times if they want to use someone like Lincoln Kienholz. He says they want to keep it with a quarterback. If they use it, they don't want to put like a Xavier Johnson, kind of a wildcat formation with that. So I'm interested to see if they actually use that.
He did.
Yeah,
he did talk about.
A lot of people forgot. We brought it up yesterday on our video from the Ohio Stadium. Is that a lot of people forget Devin Brown wasn't just this special wildcat kind of package quarterback. He is your backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And Kyle McCord, it's more important than ever for Kyle McCord to stay upright. At this point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good, Tim. I thought it was interesting that Ryan said that they had toyed with Xavier Johnson and Emeka back there. I thought that was interesting because they're just trying to figure out some solutions there in the red zone. My big takeaway is this defense. You can tell the pride that Jim Knowles is taking in the defense right now. It's very apparent by the way he's answering questions, the way he's interacting with us. There is a lot of pride with what's going on in that unit, but he also made sure to talk about some of the things that they need to improve on, some of the ways that they're adjusting, some of the things that they're doing defensively.
You're not going to say orbit again, are you?
No,
Okay.
he's not going. We're talking about defense here. Nobody
Well,
else.
he was talking about motion, and maybe adjusting the motion a little bit better and things like that.
I just think
you're going
that
to throw some orbit in there.
I just think that it's interesting, how much pride he's taking in this defense, and it was on display when he was at the podium on Tuesday here. He knows that there's a lot more work to be done, but this defense seems like it's starting to arrive.
Yeah, and his big point, this is where you worry about the sugar, Pats on the back, boy, y'all are doing great. I mean, all that kind of stuff. And you heard me ask him as he was leaving. I said, "Do you even put sugar in your coffee?" And he goes, "No."
Yeah.
I mean, he understands. Ryan Day understands this team is at a tipping point. May not be the correct term, but it is at a place where even this kind of thing, going into a place like Camp Randall against Wisconsin, a team that's fighting now for possibly playing in the last Big Ten championship game when it comes to divisional champions.
They're on top right now.
Exactly. They're not walking into, this, I'm not going to name names, they're not walking into some low-level kind of like contender. This is
Purdue.
a team fighting for a shot at being in that last true Big Ten championship game of divisional champions. And so they don't want anything. They want to keep this going. And it was definitely going that way on Saturday against Penn State. Both sides of the ball, but especially on defense.
This is 2 in a row tricky games. Wisconsin is going to throw a lot at this Ohio State defense that you're not used to seeing from Wisconsin. It's more of a spread style with still Braylon Allen, so the defensive line is going to have to be good, but they're going to spread Ohio State out and get guys out of the box to let Braylon Allen have room. And then you got to go to Rutgers, and that's going to be a trip that the Ohio State offense has to be ready for, because that Rutgers defense is not something to be messing around with. They are pretty good. So I think that this week is the tone setter for these back-to-back road trips. It starts today, particularly when the Buckeyes hit the practice field here, I think at like 2:30 or 2 o'clock. It's a big 2-week stretch here, Andy, and like he said, you've got to keep going up. You can't just plateau because you beat another top 10 team. The last time they played a top 10 team, they had the luxury of the off week afterward. They don't have the luxury of an off week now. They've got to turn around and hit the road, go on one of their longest road trips of the year, and face a Wisconsin team that isn't doing as much punching in the mouth as a Wisconsin team you're used to, but they're still willing to throw a few haymakers.
Yeah, a lot of tricky games in the schedule still to go. I mean, the Minnesota game, they're going to play you hard every week. So that's at the end of the season, right before that trip up to Ann Arbor. But yeah, the word we hear against the top 10 teams is matchup game. In these weeks, it's competitive stamina, and I think we heard that a couple times today, and that seems to be the message of not taking your foot off the gas, no matter who you're playing. And, that's championship level mindset, as Ryan Day says. Like, you have to bring it every single week. And I think that's what he was asked about in terms of, adjusting. He was on staff for some of those losses that Tim alluded to.
Both of them.
Yeah. And, since he's been head coach, they just haven't had one of those. And that's that attention to detail, the competitive stamina, the championship mindset of what it would take to get to the Big Ten championship and not have one of those asterisk losses or outliers per se. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take a lot on the road. Halloween weekend too. It's going to be a night game. That atmosphere, I'm really excited to see. But this defense will carry you in those games. Like, not that it needs to, but that's the good thing about having a championship caliber defense, is that if your offense starts slow or it's not up to par, the defense is super sustainable, because usually when you have a defense like this, it's there every week bringing that punch. And I think that's the thing that stuck out to me watching this team, is that, we're at the point now, 7 games in, where you can count on this defense to show up.
Yeah. But here's the thing, coming out of that game on Saturday, there are all kinds this is how he knows he can get this team's attention. They weren't even close to perfect on offense.
Yep.
I mean, that short yardage, just when you think you've got that off your back, and I brought up the one play that we talked about yesterday, down the goal line, 3rd down play, when everybody comes off the ball except one guy. And that guy misses the block on the guy who ends up making the tackle on Mayan Williams and forcing that 4th down. They went ahead and went for it anyway, and threw that, that wide screen. I didn't even bring that up with him because, everybody has their own take on things. his take was that would work. I don't like wide stuff in those kind of situations. I like quick hitters, one way or the other. But the bottom line is, they got repulsed there at the 2-yard line, trying to go in and put a touchdown on the board that would clinch it. And then what you can't discount, as well as the defense played, gave up a touchdown drive to Penn State. That basically, when Penn State got down there and scored, they went for 2. Not sure why they went for 2 there, but
Oh, I am.
well, anyway, you always have all the answers. I'll defer to you in a minute. But the bottom line is, after they scored, they were 1 score away. I mean, yeah, 25 seconds left, but the point is, you got to get that stop, And so it made basically a pretty convincing win. In essence, a onside kick called by Carnell Tate, your freshman wide receiver. I'm going to write about him. Matter of fact, right after we're done here, just kind of like how he stepped up in a couple of situations. It made it imperative you get that onside kick, because we've seen much stranger things happen this year in college football than a team getting the ball at the 50-yard line with a chance to score with 25 seconds left.
The reasoning for going for 2 there, Tim, the numbers will tell you this, and coaches.
You're not going to give me analytics and all that kind of crap, are you?
No,
Okay.
The numbers say you go for 2 because if you don't get it, you're down 8, and then you just need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. If you do get it,
Go ahead.
if you do get it, you're down 6, and then an extra point wins you the game on the road, and you don't have to go to overtime on the road.
I
It's a
understand.
very common spot now that
Yeah.
coaches are put in,
Yeah.
and I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
And I think the guy we just talked to in there, the first guy we talked to, would probably have done the same thing.
Believe me, I understand all that, but I think you kick the extra point because the easier thing to do is kick the extra point, and you kick the extra point and go into overtime.
Coaches don't want to go into overtime on the road, but that's a different story because Ohio State beat Penn State and nobody cares anymore.
It'd be a hallelujah moment. I just scored a touchdown finally against Ohio State after 59 minutes and 35 seconds.
That's the thing, Andy, is like this defense is playing really well, but Penn State did have some success on the ground against these guys early
Not
in the
much.
game. Early in the game, they did. They had a 20-yard run and a 16-yard run.
Yeah, but that's about it.
And then Notre Dame had some success against these guys on the ground. So Braylon Allen this week, this Ohio State run defense, which is, if you're looking to nitpick this defense, it's probably the running defense, because that's just what the rushing defense stats tell you for the NCAA. I think they're like 25th or 27th in the country in rushing defense right now. Braylon Allen this week, you've got to be ready for that.
He doesn't mean to badger you, but he wants to nitpick.
Well, yes, he can break a lot of tackles. Braylon Allen
And by the
can.
way, throw a Boilermaker in there as you go through it.
You're hitting all the teams. Braylon Allen can make people miss. He can break tackles. He can do whatever. But that's the same thing that Nick Singleton and Katrin Allen can do as well. So, I mean, this is what they keep facing. That's the Big Ten for you. I do think there's a couple other pain
And the kid
points.
from Maryland, although he had a pretty good day.
Roman Hemby.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple other pain points. One being special teams, which he was asked about, and he said it just can't happen, these kinds of mistakes. He mentioned that with the muff punt, the ball that bounced and hit Lorenzo Styles Jr., he said it's really on Jaden Ballard to be louder, to call it out. Lorenzo Styles Jr. apparently did not hear Jaden Ballard calling that out.
Peter.
That's something that's got to get fixed. The other thing, he mentioned back to the Maryland game with the botched snap, that just can't happen. And he said that in games like that, that can turn a game, that can decide a game, and he was clearly not happy with that. Almost, just as bothered about that as the goal line failure with Mayan Williams and running that in from 2 yards out, or 1 yard out at that point. And then the other thing with the goal line offense is that he was asked, why not have Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field at all times when you're down right at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line area? And he said, well, we just got to be able to punch it in and score a touchdown there. But he did say, he seemed pretty contemplative in that answer, saying we will kind of consider what's best in that situation, because Marvin obviously draws a lot of attention.
That was funny, because I'll credit Tom Moore from Buckeye Huddle, who said the question was yeah, you can equate numbers that way, and Ryan goes, yeah, that's a pretty good point. It's not that Ryan Day hasn't
right.
thought about that in his head. He's not. He's very smart. He's an offensive genius. But I just thought it was
that third down play. That should have been a touch. I mean, by all concepts.
Yes.
Because they were running to basically the weak side of the defense. If you look at it, I'm talking about from a big man standpoint.
Yes.
That should have been a touchdown.
Yes.
And like I said, the guy we're talking about there missing the block, I'm not holding
You can
him.
name him. It was Cade Stover.
Yeah, it was Cade Stover. But because we talked about him, it's not, castigating him in one form or fashion. But this is an example of almost everybody clicks except one guy, and it kills you in a play like that. And Cade Stover, I guarantee you, that bugged him, man. It's probably bugging him still. But that just shows you can have the right play called with the right, going to the right hole or whatever you want to call it, gap, and it can get blown up by one person.
You're not singling out Cade Stover on that,
Right,
because
right.
I'll say the same thing
Everybody saw it.
about Chip Trainum on Kyle McCord's first sack, where he just whiffed on a
Yeah.
run block. I'll say the same thing about Marvin Harrison Jr. had a drop. Everybody else did their job on that play, and Marvin didn't. So if you want to just take it one play at a time, you can do that. But
yeah, that's what Ryan said.
On the goal line,
you literally you can, but it comes down to, just like you're talking about Lorenzo Styles Jr., the punt, the ball, the really bad punt going off of him. Yeah, you should have been aware, maybe, but are you expecting that bad a punt? You know what I mean? It's like, are you supposed to watch the ball all the time and not be blocking? I mean, it's just a crazy. Sometimes stuff happens. I almost said a bad word there.
The goal line and special teams are where they become magnified, because it's just so focused on one little area. But you could say that about every play. So we're not picking on Cade Stover.
No.
It just happens to be that was the play that he missed an assignment, and so you've got to move on there. Closing thoughts from Tuesday in the Woody, Andy, before we do a Woody Wednesday tomorrow?
Just the focus, again, not answering the questions about what's going on up north. And it's very clear that this is we cannot fumble after another top 10 win. They had the bye week suspension, Spencer mentioned, after Notre Dame. They don't have that opportunity this time. They've got to go right on the road, 2 straight games. I just thought the focus to kind of be like, this is the competitive stamina aspect of the season.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. But the main thing is execution from an offensive standpoint. Like we just delineated some of them. Clearly they can be better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're number 3 in the country. They just got their second top 10 faux victory, and clearly they can be better. In my opinion, much better.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes Kyle McCord being off there after kind of a decent start, just falling off the beam from a just being behind on his accuracy and things like that. So yeah, we're nitpicking or badgering, whatever term you want to use there. What's the next opponent after that? Scarlet Knighting, but
We're not going to do that.
Scarlet Lettering. But the bottom line is this team knows it can be better. Like I asked Ryan when you saw that play come up, that third down play at the goal line, did y'all throw stuff at the screen or whatever? And he basically, he got an interesting look on his face. He's like, yeah, they got upset because that makes everybody look bad. Well, what are you going to do about your goal line? Well, we had it all figured out except for this. I mean, I'm telling you, I keep going back to it. The 6 guys on the offensive front, including G. Scott on the left in there, came off the ball like pellets coming out of a shotgun. I mean, it was a sight to see. It was cool. But one mistake blows it up.
Hope you like wet, rainy conditions, because that's what we're facing, and that's what Ohio State's facing on Saturday night in Madison. It's going to be cold, the first true cold game of the season for Ohio State, the first true cold night game of the season for Ohio State, but there's plenty more of those on deck for this program.
I hate those, by the way.
5 more regular season games, and there's the possibility of 3 more games after that. Who knows where this team's going to go? Right now they look like the number 3 team in the country. Tim May, the 40-year vet, he's going to be breaking it all down at lettermenrow.com. So will Andy Backstrom. But first, before we get out of here, you know what makes me nice and dry? I feel warm inside when I'm wearing them. That's right, these shorts. Because while it's cold in Madison, it is nice and warm in Columbus. And I love the warm weather with my Bird Dogs khaki shorts. It says Bird Dogs on the butt, but I'm not going to show you that. Tim has his Bird Dog stuff all laid out in his closet. Didn't wear the hat today, but that's
I've
okay.
got it hanging, actually. The pants are hanging.
Oh, there you
neatly.
go. Even better. Andy's got the Bird Dog stuff. He's repping it all the time. Those joggers that Andy loves to wear, the black ones. I played golf, and I'm terrible around the golf, but looked good doing it. The Bird Dogs khaki shorts, the pants, the polos, the hat can be all yours. When you use the promo code LR at checkout, you get a free Hydro Flask-style water bottle. That's a pretty good deal because those water bottles are very, very expensive. You get one for free with your purchase at Bird Dogs. Birddogs.com/LR. or just use a promo code LR at checkout. The last time we did one of these and talked about my beautiful, wonderful
By the way,
shorts.
have you seen my golf ball? No, I haven't, sir, but boy, you sure are wearing a great pair of pants.
Man, you look great from behind while you're trying to pick
No,
up your
I
golf
didn't say
ball.
that. You know, you said that. Spencer Holbrook said that, but go ahead.
There was somebody in our YouTube comments, I don't remember who, but shout out to you, who said, "Nice video, fellas, and now there's a pair of shorts I didn't need on the way."
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
truth in advertising, those people love bird dogs, and if you buy a pair, you will love them as well. And why not just get that free Hydro Flask style water bottle thrown into the box
That's a hell of a deal, by the way.
when you get your bird dogs? But we're gonna go home. I'm gonna put the bird dogs pants on because they're more comfortable when I'm at home than these shorts, even though these shorts are great when I'm out and about in 75-degree weather. The 40-year vet Tim May, he's going home slipping into those bird dogs pants because that's what he does.
I'm going to play some golf in them.
Oh, hell yeah. Andy Backstrom, he's going to go throw some bird dog stuff on, do whatever Andy Backstrom does with his Tuesday afternoon. I'm Spencer
I
Holbrook.
bet there's a pipe involved in there. Kick back, peruse Ohio State's offense. How can it get better?
Jim Nelson, Andy Backstrom.
Remember in Inglourious
Philly
Bastards
guys.
when the German guy pulls out the pipe?
Yes.
All right,
I envision that kind of pipe for you.
we've got to get out of here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the latest practice report. I'm Spencer Holbrook, Tim May, Andy Backstrom. We'll see you guys back in here for a Woody Wednesday tomorrow night as the Buckeyes prepare for Wisconsin.